Hello, hi Sherry, hi to Scooter. I know we're not usually on this time, usually, right? Not for this. Well, unless something happens, but Shanna Gardner appeared in court today, and her husband, even though they were estranged, Mario Fernandez Saldana, appeared in court too. And I watched the proceedings, and what happened was basically she was there with Casey Anthony's lawyer, Jose Baez. Hi, Amanda. And there was a problem with the discovery. Apparently it was on some kind of a database or a site that Jose was saying that it quickly just frozen on a November 15th. Hi, Cato. And that had to do with something with her husband. So he's alleging that there are compromised emails, attorney-client privilege that the prosecution has. I'll tell you a little bit about that, but let's go through her hearing. So Jose Baez, was now given a thumb drive of the material that they were barred access for when they stopped that just on November 15th because of this alleged breach. Hi, Starflower. So the next thing, she basically was asked if she understood that she was going to waive her right to a speedy trial. If the paper that she signed herself, she was not coerced, she was not promised anything, the usual stuff. Yes, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, yes, ma'am, is basically all she said. She had a pretty smug look in court. This is a death penalty case for both of them. She had her tattoos. She has like full sleeves of tattoos on her arms covered up, wore a black sweater, cardigan, and I think gray pants. I think trying to look as what she considers demure as possible. Like I said, she answered the judge, yes, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. But she still had this smug look. Now, if you're not familiar with this case, well, she is the daughter of the Stamping Up founder out in Utah. The Stamping Up is an MLM that is in the crafting community. They sell stamps and things to make cards, paper products, and they have a lot of money, which obviously they hired Jose Baez, who represented Casey Anthony. Is he going to do a Casey Anthony here? I don't think so. I don't know what he could do. The evidence is too compelling, my feeling, in this case, to get her off. You have 3 people involved here, not just one, like with Casey Anthony. You have multiple people. You have Henry, who's the guy that was a tenant of Fernandez, and he was the guy that pulled the trigger. So she is alleged to be the mastermind behind this. Well, after all, it was her ex-husband. And it kind of brings you to the Adelsons, where they just feel their money, power, privilege puts them above the law. They don't have to follow laws. They can do what they want. She doesn't want to deal with an ex-husband, with twins. They had twins together. We showed the arrest where she was arrested at her house during the summer when the parents moved her from Florida to Washington State. Well, she's back in Florida now. And I don't think Jose Baez can do a thing to get her out of this. Now, I don't know if there's some way. I remember Lori Vallow was facing the death penalty. If he's going to get the death penalty somehow off the table, I don't know. But that to me, that would be probably the only thing that he'd be able to do if he was able to do it. I don't see any way he's going to get her off this murder rap. What is he going to do? You know, she's an abused one. Well, she wasn't abused. He wasn't abusive to her. So what's she going to show? That Fernandez had a gun to her head to make her do this? Come on, please. You know, it's just... And if you know how these two got together, and I didn't even realize probably like the huge height difference. She's above Baez and way above her ex. So I'm not sure about her height. You know, if she's something like 6 foot tall, or if I don't know. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is her husband at the time, Jared Bridegan, who was murdered, who was executed on a roadway in front of his daughter, got her this personal trainer, you know, because he was a gift, actually, and she ended up having an affair with the personal trainer. And then they divorced, and they shared custody of their twins. Jared Bridegan got married. Jared Bridegan had 2 more children. And one night, after he dropped the twins off and had his 2-year-old daughter in the car seat, on a roadway that, you know, was not very heavily passed in St. Augustine, Florida, there was a tire in the middle of the roadway, causing Jared to get out of the car to try to move the tire. When he did this, that's when he was executed by this Henry Tenon, again, who was a tenant of Fernandez. So a lot of parallels from this family to the Adelsons. And the Adelsons, you know, we've got things to discuss on them too, but this is just crazy. So let me tell you a little bit more about why the emails are coming into question. So what happened was they want to disqualify the defense for Fernandez, wants to disqualify the Duval County Prosecutor's Office, but there was no formal hearing on the motion. But they're alleging that in executing the search warrant against Saldana's phone and devices, that the state mined and viewed data that included these privileged communications between Saldana and his attorneys. Now, Saldana was represented by attorneys before his arrest, and these are the things that they are talking about. His lawyers had flagged prosecutors that any data recovered from his devices would include privileged communications. So the state agreed it would have what they call a taint team, remove any attorney-client communications to prevent law enforcement from viewing the material and then, you know, using it against him or her or anyone in any of the defendants in the case, which is her and him. The defense is alleging that despite a court order, the government uploaded this to this cloud-based portal that dozens of people have access to. And that's what Jose Baez is talking about when he said our access was just cut off November 15th. Because when this was brought to that attention, then they cut that portal access off. So now they've given them a thumb drive. The attorney for Fernandez was saying that he was going to consult with Baez. I don't know if they just, one of them, I think, got that they were going to work around that thumb drive of that discovery. And so what the breach could potentially include are 66 emails between Fernando Saldana and his attorneys. And there was a Word document attachment that was labeled confidential communication, other sealed documents, a phone call between Shanna Gardner and her Washington attorney, and email exchanges between Gardner and her attorney, Hank Cox. So the judge asked the prosecutors and defense to determine whether they would like a new hearing to discuss this or whether an independent judge should be brought in to review the documents in question. The documents in question, again, had all been uploaded to a central server for the discovery documents. That was shut down November 15th. Jose Baez said that he was prevented from accessing any of that discovery until he got the physical drive at today's hearing, the thumb drive. So they are due back in court now. There's going to be hearings about this on Fernandez's account, so I think the next one is December 11th, and for the judge to have time to do these hearings, she scheduled the next hearing for Shanna for February 2nd, I believe it is. And we'll definitely follow that up. December 11th, December 12th, as Charlie Adelson is sentenced. And then we've got Lori Vallow, which, with the... So I didn't get to go into the headlines that were going on then, but I just want to do something right here. Let's keep our eye on what this is about. This is about justice for Jared Bridegan, who was just simply gunned down. Another victim, just like Dan Markel, right? Just what these people, these entitled people, allegedly, well, and Charlie's convicted, so Mama's allegedly still Donna. But what they, and Wendy, think is, this is an annoyance in my life, and I have the means necessary to eliminate that annoyance, and the smugness. You can just see how incredibly smug Shana Gardner is. The youngest daughter of the Stamping Up founders. Mama was outside her door when she was being arrested. Parents, I believe, they've since relocated to Florida. The mother doesn't run the company anymore. That is run by, I think, one of her older daughters. All of their children's names begin with the letter S, except for the daughter that was born to the husband prior to him marrying Shanna's mother. And the mother has this blog. It's been a lot about appearances of that, but just a lot of entitlement going on, and a lot of the Stamping Up distributors, or demonstrators, I think they're called. Many of them have either been conflicted. I know one of our very own, Caddy Texas Girl, which I haven't seen you around here in a while. I hope you're doing okay. Caddy Texas Girl got on to talk about it, how she's conflicted. And it's the conflict, not just because their daughter got in trouble and just saying, their parents are... No, it's because how the parents handled everything in the wake of Jared's death, who, again, is the father of their grandchildren, murdered, executed on a street at night in front of his 2-year-old daughter. And the reaction is not what you would expect, and many people were put off by it. They did not want to be selling products that maybe would be used to defend Shanna. And so lots of conflict, and I guess that's going to be one thing, maybe to see how their sales have dropped in the last year. Like she was arrested not a year ago, so She was just arrested in August. So it'll be interesting to see how that quarter after that did, and then, the next one, and to see what happens there. That would be something that would be interesting to research, and just how many demonstrators left the company. I don't know. I know there's a lot of conflict. There were Reddits and different things where I read a lot about demonstrators that were really conflicted. So, yes, and I just want to check one other thing that hang on, let me see here, because I just want to check my Jared thing. Henry Arthur Tennant is the 62-year-old former tenant of Fernandez Saldana. That was the first suspect to be arrested on January 25th. He was arrested, and that was I don't want to get the year, because the years move so fast. I don't know if that was last January or the January before. I think it was feels like it was the January before. Let me see, but I want to double check that. Let's just go here and make sure. Okay, so it was January of 2023. I don't know. Gosh, sometimes things seem like they were further before. So he was the first one arrested in January. This former tenant. January 25th. On March 16th of 2023, he pled guilty to second-degree murder, and he acknowledged that he was the trigger man and agreed to testify against the others. So they were going to use that Henry to nail these other two, right? That's the plan by the state attorney, Melissa Nelson. So Henry Arthur Tennant is arrested on March 16th. He pleads guilty to second-degree murder. He doesn't face the death penalty because of that. He states he's the triggerman, and he agrees to testify against Shanna and Mario Fernandez. Then Fernandez is the second one arrested, and then Shanna. She was arrested August 17th. And there is footage of that on our channel, of that actual police cam arrest, where she's very, very calm, very calm. I had to know that it was coming. She entered a not guilty plea on November 3rd. And the murder happened February 16th, 2022. So it took almost a year for the first arrest in the case, but then 3 arrests within that year after. All right, and there was something else I was going to just check before I just want to see this. Okay. People wondered why Shanna was allowed to wear street clothes and no handcuffs. Mario was in jail scrubs and cuffs. And someone said Jose Baez made this request for Casey Anthony. It's a decent tactic to make her appeal less threatening, more feminine. Jury's less likely to associate with her with being a prisoner. Also makes them appear less criminal. It has to do with Jose Baez. This is a Baez thing. Baez is trying to paint her as someone else. He did the same with Casey Anthony. Let's see. People wanted to know if Shanna's parents were in court today, which is an interesting question. I don't know. Like I said, I believe I've heard they relocated to Florida, that they're in some kind of a rental unit or possibly an Airbnb. The mother, again, is not actively working in the company. She's passed that baton to the daughter. Let's see here. So yeah, and I don't know about his lawyer, Fernandez's lawyer. Her next hearing is February 2nd, 2024, I think I said. Let's see. He hired a local attorney. So he doesn't have a public defender. He has a local attorney. His attorneys, Jesse Dreiser, Tassone, and Hill. Again, not public defenders, and no idea who's footing the bill for that. But apparently they didn't think to ask for him or bring him clothes. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to discuss. So next court hearing for Mario is his pretrial conference, December 11th. That'll be 9 a.m. And the next one for Shanna, February 2nd at 9 a.m. Say Baez, yeah. I don't know how he thinks. I don't know what Baez is going to use as a defense. Let's see. Baez said he has never lost a first or second degree murder case out of 11 that have gone to trial. He attributes his success to his ability to relate to jurors from all walks of life. Interesting. I'd like to look at all those cases that he's never lost. But I don't believe he's going to be able to do this one. I don't believe so. I think there's way too much evidence there. And you have a trigger man that is testifying against the two. I don't think he's going to do it this time. But it's obvious Mommy and Daddy hired who they feel is the best person to do that. So let's see what happens. So there are wiretapped conversations against Shanna and Mario. Jail recordings. I think they have a lot of evidence. I can imagine there's probably conversations allegedly between her and her mother, and yeah, I don't know. So we'll have to. So we'll see. But it's an interesting case, and it's just like another one that's very much like the Adelsons in the fact that it's arrogance, entitlement, and people that can't solve problems without murder. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how contentious or whatever, if, she's having issues with him, especially a person like her, she has all the money at the disposal to hire any lawyers to negotiate anything that's going on. She has money where she could have arranged for, different whatever the issues were to work this out. But to honestly take at least 3 people, we know there's at least 3, who all agree that, okay, yeah, this is the best option for us. Let's do this. That always astounds me. That's like when we talked about Kelsey Barrett, and you have more than 1, 2, 3 people. Look at the Adelsons. Like, none of them said, okay, that's just a fantasy. We can't do that. Nobody's willing to risk, being in prison forever for this. There's lots of people that go through a divorce, lots of people that don't get along with their exes, but murder's not the answer. They literally need a T-shirt that murder's not the answer. I don't even understand this. To get to that level of entitlement where you think you're going to escape this, especially with today's technology, phones, computers, cameras, you're not going to get away with it. That's the thing. And that's another thing that Baez, as technology keeps advancing, no, I don't think he's going to get her off this one. I don't. I really am very confident that the evidence in this case points that, she'll be convicted, he'll be convicted. You've got somebody testifying. There was, you didn't have that in Casey Anthony. Somebody testifying like that was part of it, right? You didn't have that. And I would like to see I really do want to look at his other 10, I guess, murder cases that he says first and second degree murder, that he got someone off every time, that he's never lost. So that would be interesting. And I'm going to take a look at that. But anyway, let me see what you guys are saying. Let me get to the chat, because I haven't been looking at the chat. I've been looking at stuff here. Let's see. So you say, hi K-Rox, hi Al, hello Linda, bye K-Rox. Okay, so you guys don't have any views. Do you think Jose Baez is going to get her off? I don't think Jose Baez is going to get her off, not at all. Let me put a I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Linda says no. Where are you, Scooter? You don't have any opinion? You think Jose Baez is going to pull this off? Somebody just voted yes. Who voted yes? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Hi, Crystal. You think Jose Baez will get her off? Really, Crystal? Tell me why. Tell me what defense. I'm interested. Tell me what defense you think Jose Baez could use to get her off when you have the trigger man who's testifying against the both of them. What do you think he's going to use? Because you have to remember, there's telephone calls, there's text messages, technology, like there's so technology, everything is just not on their side. Not on their side. And then you have to know, like, it's kind of like with the Adelsons, as the dominoes began to fall, so as this Henry Tennant gets arrested, you can imagine maybe what kind of conversations between her and Fernandez, right? Her husband, Mario Fernandez. And then as Mario gets arrested, then what kind of conversations is she having, maybe with her mother, somebody, a friend, somebody in there, as she's freaking out? You have to understand that they're freaking out. They have to be. If she is indeed guilty, and 2 of 3 people involved in this are arrested, and she's probably knowing that's just a matter of time, because she was very, very calm when she was arrested. It did not seem shocking, surprising, or, you know, she was very calm, very, very calm. Oh, that was just a guess. You don't know anything about it? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, hi, cute kitty kitty. How are you? Haven't seen you in a long time. How are things? We know that Lori Vallow is back. We might as well, while we're here, go through the headlines here, right? Let's look at Lori Vallow. She's back in Arizona. She was extradited to Arizona and booked into the Maricopa County Jail. We know who else has been in the Maricopa County Jail, right? Let's see. There's a... get Lori's picture up here so we know we're talking about Lori, and if I ever do go get my videos put into chapters. But Lori Vallow is back in Arizona. And her booking photo is quite interesting, huh? She looks a little bewildered. She reminds me of someone. I know I say that all the time, that they remind me of somebody. But she's got a look on her, and I'm trying to think who it is. It's, Lori, get over there. She's got a sense of bewilderment, a little bit of arrogance. Who it is she is reminding me of there. But I think you can see the stress and worry on her face, though she seems to be trying to look I don't know, a little bit, almost even quirky-ish, yeah? Here's another photo from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Okay, so we've got that, and she is, of course, there because of Alex Cox and his murder. He said that he killed Charles Vallow in self-defense, but yeah. Okay, right, so let's see what's going on with Lori's facing multiple homicide charges in Arizona after she was found guilty in Ohio. Lori's been extradited to Arizona. She is in the Maricopa County Jail, booked into the jail. She's facing 2 conspiracy to commit murder charges in Arizona. She's already been convicted and sentenced for the murders of her children, Tylee and JJ. She was also convicted of conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Chad Daybell, her current husband's first wife, Tammy Daybell. And she was convicted, and I don't know if I finished that sentence, for the murder of her 2 children. So she was indicted in Arizona for the second time, and she's accused of conspiring to kill her niece's ex-husband. Remember that debacle? That guy's lucky to be alive. She was previously indicted in 2021 on a charge of conspiring to kill Charles Vallow, her 4th husband, in Chandler, Arizona. So the governor of Idaho signed her extradition papers in October. And there was a press conference in which the Maricopa County Sheriff Paul Penzone, I don't know how he pronounces that, said during a press conference that she will not be housed in the general population. She's going to be kept in an isolated, high-security area of the jail. Her husband, Chad Daybell, is awaiting trial, which is due to begin April 1st of 2024. Now, Lori Vallow's, there's going to be a little bit of a busyness in December. So we've got Fernandez, December 11th. We've got Charlie Adelson, December 12th. Vallow's going first on D-Day, December 7th. It's the day after my colonoscopy. So her first hearing is scheduled for Thursday, December 7th. She's not eligible for bail, of course. And see what happens there. But that's that news regarding that. Let's see what else we have here. I've talked a little bit about that horrible case, and I want to bring it back because it was after the sale last night to support our legal fund, and I would like to draw your attention to the legal fund because we do have a need for it. We are in our battle, our fight for justice, and have retained our attorney. So this is going to be a very expensive endeavor in federal court. If anybody doubts me on that, then obviously you should go back and call some attorneys and ask them about a matter in federal court. So anyway, let's go on, and any donations would be greatly appreciated. And there are several ways to donate. The one is the GoFundMe Legal Fund. There's also PayPal and Cash App and Nightbot Drops, all of that stuff. Okay. I want to tell you about the woman that really is presumed dead at this point. I don't know if they've come out and said it. Her sister has said it. There's a large quantity of dried blood. People have compared it a little bit to Gabby Petito just because she was going across the country, but there's differences. But let me show you this because I think probably some of you might have missed it last night. Okay, so let me get this. Her name is Katie Ferguson, 33 years old. She disappeared during a cross-country trip. Get this here, but there's a lot of really disturbing details. There's a let me get a picture. I just want to get a picture up here. Sorry for the this hang on. This is, oopsie, come on. Oh my goodness. Anyway, there's a bad relationship. She broke up with the boyfriend before, then allegedly called to have him pick her up. And then there's police cam video from October where they're stopped and she's in the car with him and the 2 kids, and yet a few days later they are stopped again and she's no longer in the car. And then he says that he returns with the 2 kids. Thankfully, the kids are not another casualty of this, but let me tell you. Okay, there, I got the picture up. That is Katie Ferguson. So she mysteriously vanished during a cross-country trip from Alabama to Wyoming. And she was, her ex is behind bars on unrelated felony charges. Catherine Katie Ferguson left Wyoming with her 2 daughters to head to Alabama months ago. Relatives said it was to get away from her ex, Adam Aviles Jr. Then 3 months later, in October, she asks Adam to come get her. So he comes back to Alabama and they go off on a trip, the 4 of them, from Alabama back to Wyoming. But she doesn't arrive there. Only 3 arrive there. So her concerned family members filed a police report on November 2nd in Wyoming after they hadn't spoken to her since October. Now, her sister Nicole says, I never in a million years thought he would do something to her. I didn't. But now I think he did. And I think it was bad. I think it was really bad. And she said, I don't think she's alive. I really don't. During the police investigation, they arrested Adam on an unrelated misdemeanor charge. He was later transferred into federal custody in Casper, Wyoming on a felony charge of possession of ammunition. Katie still has not been found, but really disturbing evidence has been found. So here's some of the things that happened. On October 5th, Katie was in Arkansas, and it was the last time she was seen. They were stopped. There was a traffic stop. There was police cam. 4 days later, on October 9th, when Adam was pulled over by Texas State Patrol officers, they noted a projectile hole on the passenger side of the vehicle, and there was no sign of Katie. He was pulled over again in Colorado, and he was the only adult in the car. When he made it to Wyoming, he arrived there alone with the 2 children, no sign of Katie. On November 4th, his vehicle, a 1999 Dodge Durango, was later found in Oregon Basin near Cody, Wyoming. That was 2 days after police started to look for Katie and she was reported missing. The members of the Park County Sheriff's Office found the vehicle. Sheriff Darrell Stewart said he could smell putrefied blood coming from the vehicle. The front passenger seat was missing. Multiple Clorox wipes were found inside. Police found a loaded Glock pistol in the vehicle. And they took DNA swabs, but they have yet to be identified, according to the report. A search warrant was then executed by federal agents 2 days after that vehicle was located. On November 8th, the police spoke to Adam, and he reportedly told officers that Katie wasn't missing. No, she just doesn't want to have contact with her mother, he said. Now, one of the children, this is really sad, made statements that her father accidentally hurt her mother. Adam was convicted of heroin possession in 2017. He was recently charged with having firearm ammunition. Police have not yet charged him either with Katie's disappearance or anything related to that yet. Her mother, Angela Ferguson, said that everything points to a very tragic direction, and it's hard. She said it's hard to hear the rumors, to hear what might have happened to her. It's just unfathomable. It's devastating. It's the most tragic, awful thing. The family is waiting to hear what investigators get from that potential DNA because things were found in that truck. There was bloody clothing found in it. There was a large amount of dried blood found. So it's not looking good. And her sister said she hopes that Adam would tell her and their grief-stricken family what happened. And I quote her saying, "I love her and I don't want to be negative, but I don't think she's coming home. But I at least want her to be found." Adam's being held in a jail in Casper, Wyoming on federal charges. He has pled not guilty, and a trial date has been set for January 24th. So we'll keep following that up as they get some more information, but that was something that I don't know if you got to hear last night. And let's see here what we got in other. So Charlie Adelson made 35 calls to his mother, and I want to see what time frame was that he made those 35 calls. Well, we've seen his call log before. It's just crazy, right? Don't be scared, it's just, oh, my computer playing games. Playing games. My computer's playing games. Hang on, I'm still here. There we go. Trying to get rid of some of this extraneous stuff, and maybe that will help us get back into, there we go. My microphone isn't working. Okay. Oh, that's not good. It better be working. My microphone better be working. Okay, I don't know what just, where the freak is my Google Chrome? let me get this because my Google Chrome, let me shut it down. I've got to shut this down. Hang on. I've got to restart my browser here so I can get back. It's totally shut down on me here. So let me get rid of that. Okay, let me get rid of this. I'm not using much. Okay, let me open a new browser. Sorry about this, guys. This is technology. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what it's going to do. You never know. December 1st, guys. Google's putting the Christmas lights on their Google. Isn't that funny? Okay. Let me get into YouTube, make sure my microphone is working and you can hear me. Okay. Let me go and find you. Live. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for, okay, so 71% no. Jose is not going to get her off. I think that too. I think we're in agreement with that. Hi, everybody. Sorry. Lots of swampland. That's bad. Okay, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hi, Christina Ferrara. How are you? And to make their lives better now. Yeah, how did that make their lives better, right? Okay, let me go over here and we're going to just go through the rest of the headlines, okay? We have another like really crazy, they're calling it Romeo Juliet. It's very confusing case with an 18-year-old boy, and have you heard that one? That's like really crazy. Oh, guess what? Forgot to tell you. Ruby Franke and Hubby, well, divorce. Her husband filed. Kevin Franke filed for divorce Wednesday in Utah. So he also filed a domestic relations injunction that seeks to bar any harassment and misuse of personal information. The injunction also requests that neither Kevin nor Ruby Franke be allowed to conceal or transfer assets without the other one's consent or court order. Probably aware, on August 30th, Ruby Franke's 12-year-old son escaped the house of Jody Hildebrand and ran to a neighbor's home where he asked for food and water. That neighbor was concerned, called 911, cops came by. That led to the arrest of Jody Hildebrand because they located Ruby Franke's 10-year-old daughter, who was reportedly malnourished. And Jody Hildebrand is Ruby Franke's business partner, which they have this counseling, I don't even know what you want to call it, program on, was on YouTube, was on Facebook. It has a bunch of videos, I guess seminars, probably related materials, etc., etc. Ruby Franke's 2 kids were staying with Jody Hildebrandt at the time, and Hildebrandt directly cared for the kids, but police suspect Franke was aware of this because she was filming YouTube videos in Hildebrandt's basement 2 days before the incident on Wednesday. So, yeah, she was arrested too. There were crazy allegations from Jody Hildebrandt commenting that the children should never be around any other kids. You know, like she was doing this for the benefit of all these other kids, which led police to believe she was aware of the abuse, and that Ruby said that they shouldn't be around any other kids as well. So she was complicit or aware of the abuse that's happening with her kids. During a court hearing, then Ruby Franke comes out and says this most crazy stuff about SA, and it's just bizarre. I'm not even going to go into it because I don't even believe that, don't believe Ruby Franke, but I also don't want to even repeat that because it's some horrible things that she's saying about these kids that I feel are already so abused. It's horrendous. Her 4 children who were underage were placed in the state's care following that, and she is in jail and has been in jail with Jody Hildebrandt since that date. But the news today is that Hubby's filed for divorce on Wednesday. That's our news. Okay, let's see here. A missing dad of twin boys? What's up with this? I don't know what's up with this. Let's see what's up with this. The wife of a missing Iowa father says she believes something sinister happens as the search continues into its 10th day. Did anybody hear about this? 10th day on this? 53-year-old David Schultz of Wall Lake was last heard from November 21st. His wife, Sarah Schultz, said that his red truck was found parked in the northbound lane of Highway 71 on November 21st, around 5 miles north of the old Highway 20 intersection. Sarah added that the truck was loaded with young pigs and found in the middle of the road unlocked. Police discovered his coat in a nearby ditch. His wallet, cash, and his cell phone were located inside the truck. Late in the afternoon, I found out that he missed a load, and I just got sick to my stomach, she said. He would never miss a load. He's their guy. From then on, I knew something was bad wrong. Bad wrong. I want him home. You know my kids need their dad. He's a good man. I want my David. He's mine. And someone took him. I know someone took him. Okay, let's see here. Schultz is described as a white male standing 5'11", about 180 pounds. He looks very different in this other photo, so I'm going to put this one up. He has brown hair, brown eyes, and last known to be wearing Wrangler blue jeans, cowboy boots, and a Peterbilt hat. That's according to a GoFundMe that's been set up. As of Thursday, Sac County Police say there's no new developments in the case, and meanwhile, police are asking the Northeast Sac County property owners to check around their property and their outbuildings for anything out of the ordinary. The Lakeview Police Department has asked anyone who has heard or seen from Schultz to contact Lakeview Police Department at 712-657-2513. Just want to take a quick look here for something. Okay. All right, let me see what they're saying here. The search for Dave continues, blah, blah, blah. Media coverage has continued to grow. Here's another page. Another picture from the GoFundMe. I don't know. What does it sound like to you? What does it sound like to you? What do you think? His coat was found in the ditch. Did he go somewhere? Did he they don't say a note was found or anything. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what else is going on. Okay, wow. Here's a teacher, beloved Ohio STEM teacher, shot dead in her home. A beloved junior high and high school teacher and coach was found dead from a gunshot wound at her home Wednesday night. Police say they have a person of interest. No arrests have been made as of Thursday evening. However, the Columbia County Sheriff's Office says it was called to the scene just before 9:30 p.m. Wednesday night, and they found Michelle Long, 50 years old, dead at her home in Butler Township. She taught math, STEM, and industry classes in the Latonia Exempted Village School District. She was the junior high school robotics and track coach. She had been with the district for 8 years. The superintendent, Dennis Dunham, said Long's death was a huge loss for the district, but the schools would remain open. And I quote him saying, "We feel it's extremely important that our students are in the building here so we can provide the support necessary." Latonia High School did cancel a girls' varsity basketball game that had been scheduled for Thursday night, however. Oh, very sad, and they got a person of interest, so I bet you it's someone really close to her. Got another case here. A 19-year-old man has been charged with the stabbing and beating deaths of his father, his father's girlfriend, and his half-brother. New York police officers found Jonathan Rivera, 38, stabbed to death in the hallway of the building, and found Hanoi Peralta, 33, and 5-year-old Caden Rivera dead after breaking into an apartment when they spotted the boy through a window. Investigators believe that Jaden Rivera was babysitting Caden on Saturday night. When Jonathan Rivera and Peralta returned home, the teen stabbed them and beat them with a pot, leaving it bent. Neighbors say they heard the screaming, but apparently they didn't call the police. Oh, that's great. And the bodies weren't found until later Sunday morning. Police say the 19-year-old went to his mother's apartment after the murders, and she called an ambulance for him Sunday afternoon when he said he was hearing voices. The ambulance took him to Westchester Medical Center, where he reportedly said he killed someone. A search warrant for his mother's apartment turned up bloody clothing and a pair of sneakers that matched bloody footprints at the crime scene. Wow. Absolutely crazy. Okay, let me look at this. There's something about Crystal Rogers. See what's going on over here. The Kentucky Appeals Court and the state Supreme Court have issued rulings against Brooke Hawk, the man accused of killing mother of 5, Crystal Rogers, back in 2015. He is in jail on a $10 million bond. Rogers was a 35-year-old Kentucky mother of 5. She was last seen at Brooks Farm, family farm, in July of 2015. And then days after that, her car was found abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway. Inside the car... Jimmy said... Oh, hang on 1 second. Sorry about that. He was calling me from work. Okay, so, where were we? So inside the car that was abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway, they find her keys and her phone and her purse still inside. They still haven't found her body. Now, Brooks comes from a well-connected, well-to-do Kentucky family. He was named the prime suspect in her disappearance back in 2015, but he wasn't arrested until this past September. Prosecutors argued for the steep bond because they say he has the potential to intimidate witnesses. Now, his attorney argued that he needed to be released on bond, and they asked for a $500,000 bond so that he could take care of his multi-million-dollar businesses, and they said he's not a flight risk. The Nelson County Court Judge Charles Sims set the bond at $10 million. However, Hawk's attorneys promptly appealed. The appeals court issued an order affirming Sims' ruling on the matter on Tuesday, noting that Hawk had failed to sufficiently meet the burden of proof demonstrating the bond set is excessive. The court agreed that Hawk was a low flight risk, but said that was offset by the trial court's finding that Brooks constituted a danger to potential witnesses. And I quote them saying, when there are indications a defendant and potential accomplices pose a danger to witnesses and to the integrity of the proceedings, a higher bond than that typically set may be warranted. The appeals court wrote that in their 16-page ruling, further noting that in such cases, bond could be denied altogether. The ruling also noted that Brooks' family members have been accused of recording secret grand jury proceedings, and that prosecutors have alleged that Brooks' brother, Nick Hawk, may have been involved in the death of Tommy Ballard, who was Cheryl's father. The court said that Brooks has the financial means to pay the bond. Meanwhile, the Kentucky Supreme Court ended Brooks' attempt to have Sims removed from the case completely for bias. The defendant failed to demonstrate any disqualifying circumstances that would require the appointment of a special judge, said Kentucky Supreme Court Justice Lawrence B. Van Meter wrote in the ruling. Hawk was arrested shortly after the arrest of Joseph Lawson, who is 32, on charges of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence in the case. Another one, a long time coming, right, on that, Justice? Okay, Chatty Daybell. Got a little news on Chatty. there, Chad. So the murder of Chad Daybell will be broadcast live by the court. That's what the Idaho judge ruled on Wednesday. Chad, of course, is charged with the murder and conspiracy to murder and the death of his first wife, Tammy Daybell, and two of his second wife, Lori Vallow Daybell's children, Tylee Ryan, 16, and J.J. Vallow, 7. Again, we just covered Lori Vallow. She was convicted and of murder of her 2 children and Chad's wife, right? Conspiracy to commit it. Judge Stephen Boyce originally barred the cameras from the courtroom, and now Daybell's attorneys filed a motion to allow broadcast of the proceedings. They were joined in a hearing on the matter by an attorney representing a coalition of media outlets. Prosecutors argued against the broadcast. They said that they had concerns that it might taint the jury pool and issues whether witnesses would possibly be watching the live streams. And Judge Boyce ruled the trial would be streamed on the court's website by the court's audio and video equipment. No still cameras will be permitted or any third-party recording. Boyce also heard arguments of a prosecution motion to move the trial from Ada County closer to eastern Idaho, where the crimes occurred and where witnesses and family members live. Prosecutors say the argument that publicity was too strong in Fremont County, where the proceeding began, is now true for Ada County, where Lori Vallow Daybell's trial took place. During the trial, there was daily coverage, daily reports, interviews being conducted on the courthouse steps, and crowds were gathered to hear the verdict, said Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney Lindsay Blake. The coverage in Ada County is pervasive. Daybell's attorney, John Pryor, argued that the population of Fremont County is considerably less than that of Ada County, making it difficult to draw an unbiased jury with so many relatives and witnesses in the area. Judge Boyce said he would issue a ruling after he has reviewed the arguments. He also heard arguments from prosecutors seeking to amend parts of the indictment, which he granted, and from the defense seeking to limit prosecutors to presenting the exact same case for Daybell that they presented for Lori Vallow Daybell. The judge denied that motion, saying he'd seen no evidence that prosecutors planned to present a substantially different case. Final motion under consideration was one from the defense asking to have the death penalty taken off the table, as it was for Lori Vallow Daybell. Again, Stephen Boyce said he would issue a written ruling on that motion later. Chad is due in court for another hearing on another December date, December 28th, and his trial is set to begin on April 1st of 2024. April Fool's Day. Wow. Oh boy. Lori Vallow Daybell is also facing conspiracy charges for the murder of her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. And remember, she was just extradited over there to Arizona, and she's comfy. Well, I don't know if she's comfy, but she's in the Maricopa County jail. Okay, let me go back. Is Scooter still here? Have you heard this, Scooter? This is Indiana. A missing Indiana girl's body was found stuffed inside a barrel in a neighbor's backyard. Indiana investigators announced the end of a 6-month search after discovering a missing teen's body stuffed inside a barrel near her Rush County home. So there's a Rushville County Sheriff's Office press statement. Let's read this here. It says, Rush County Sheriff's Office, assisted by Rushville Police Department, United States Marshals Service, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, discovered a body while executing search warrants associated with the disappearance of Valerie Tindle. Yesterday, November 28, 2023, Tindle was reported missing by family on June 8, 2023. She was 17 years old at the time. Substantial investigative activity resulted in the discovery of a body buried at 2366 North Oak Street, Arlington, Indiana, 46104. The property belonged to Patrick Scott, who was identified early in the investigation as a person of interest. The Rush County coroner was dispatched to the scene to begin the process of positively identifying the remains and determining cause and manner of death. Following the discovery of the body, Patrick Scott was arrested without incident and booked into the Rush County Jail for murder. This is not the outcome we had hoped for, said Alan Rice. This case is still under investigation to ensure those responsible are successfully prosecuted. The Rush County Sheriff's Office urges the public to come forward with any information that may assist the investigation in light of recent developments. The public may contact the Sheriff's Office at 765-932-2931. All suspects are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Family members reported Tindale missing on June 8th, but police said that substantial investigative activity was needed before discovering Tindale, including carrying out over 50 search warrants. One of the previous searches included searching a pond on Scott's property. Tindale was working for Scott and his lawn care business when she disappeared on June 7th. We moved away from Indy to get away from violence, and we moved across the street from her predator, her mother, Valerie's mother, Sheena Gardner, said. She's a really good person, a sweet kid. She worked hard to get her grades up. She was going to go to college. She was accepted, and now she'll never have the chance. Scott had been previously arrested for making false statements to the police after he allegedly changed his story numerous times when asked about Valerie. He initially claimed that he dropped her off with an unknown male in Homer, which is about 5 miles from Arlington. Sandefur said that someone told her they overheard Scott telling the victim that he wanted to take her someplace special on June 7th after a lunch outing in Indianapolis. The same person said that Scott appeared to be a jealous boyfriend and would constantly check Tindale's phone. Police later found Tindale's car abandoned at a Shelbyville apartment complex. Scott had allegedly been driving the car and told investigators that he was simply moving the teen's vehicle for her and that they both left in his lawn care truck. Rush County Sheriff Alan Rice said the investigation is in its early stages and it's far from over. Okay, very sad case. It's crazy. See if we have anything else. Okay, let's go here. So we have outrage from parents of a Belmont U student who was shot dead while jogging. They are outraged because her accused killer has been released from jail. So their daughter was shot and killed earlier this month. Jillian Ludwick, 18, was shot while walking along a track at Edge Hill Community Memorial Gardens, not far from the private Christian school, Belmont University. She was taken to a hospital in critical condition and died overnight. Nashville police arrested Shaquille Taylor, 29, after he allegedly shot at a car at a public housing unit. We covered this story when this happened, across the street from the park, subsequently shooting Ludwig. My girl went out on a run in the middle of the afternoon in a park 2 blocks from campus, Jillian's mother, Jessica Ludwig, said. I mean, it's just unimaginable, and it could have been prevented. Following his arrest, the district attorney's office indicated that 3 physicians said he was mentally incompetent to stand trial, and now he's out of jail since he cannot currently be prosecuted on murder charges. We are frustrated by this essential loophole in the system that allows this to happen, says Jillian's father, Matt Ludwick. If there is a determination that someone is mentally unwell, then there should be some way to handle that in a manner that won't allow them to get back onto the street. I don't know much about the man other than what everyone has heard about him and what has been made public. Our anger is with the system that allowed this to happen. Police previously said that Taylor and another man had been charged with shooting at a woman as she was driving with her 2 children earlier this year. Those charges were dismissed. Court-appointed doctors testified that Taylor was incompetent to stand trial. Taylor was not hospitalized after the incident, according to the criminal court judge, Angelita Blackshear Dalton. He reportedly did not meet the criteria to be involuntarily committed under Tennessee state law. After Ludwig's shooting and news of Taylor's earlier release, the Nashville District Attorney General Glenn Funk harshly criticized state law, saying the rules for involuntary commitment are a nearly impossible standard. The laws must be altered to accurately balance individual needs with public safety, he said in a statement calling on Tennessee legislature to change the rules. At the same time, Tennessee must provide more beds and staffing resources to handle dangerous individuals. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell echoed Funk's comments about beds and staffing resources, adding that the legislature should also begin a renewed conversation about how we limit access to firearms for individuals we know are a threat to the community. That's terrible. And if he's out on the street, and what if he does the same thing again to somebody else, then that's incredible. Wow, that really is crazy. Okay, so hi, Painting with Wendy. How are you? Hi, John Doe. What kind of painting do you do, Wendy? Do you ever do painting, like tutorials? We were looking for somebody like to lead us all in one painting that everybody does. You can email me if you're interested in that. Doing on a craft night. Okay, I'm gonna let you all go because I'm gonna go get something to eat, and I've got some things I've got to get done and some meetings and I've got to be at. But I will talk to you all later. Thank you for coming in. God bless and prayers. We'll see you later. Bye bye.